Hey, and welcome to Getting Down with the Pickleball with your host, Dr. Don, the killer pickler and sex therapist, and me, Tony, the sidekick who asks the questions, gets the news and all the updates, and all the pickleball antics you can handle. And now, it's Dr. Don.
Hi, y'all. Welcome to Getting Down with the Pickleball. This is your host, Dr. Don, the Pickler, with your pickleball news and more. So now, let's start the show with the big pickle of the day. Yesterday, I was in this heated round with these two opposing bangers. And let me tell you what happened. I got hit in the eye, I got hit in each boob, and I got hit in the thigh. Now, you know what? It's not fun when you're playing with somebody who's out there completely banging you up. They should be, playing with skill, having a good time, but they're literally out there just hitting the ball as hard as they can. All right. I got banged up, but not in a good way. And I suppose I should have had my paddle up, of course, and been playing a better defense strategy. But seriously, they come out and they just bang these balls at me? I'd rather have that done in the bedroom. But, on the court, forget it. And that was only the first part of the game. You can imagine what I looked like after the second part of the game. So, now that we got the double meaning of bangers, let's move on to my next shot. And that would be the FTX scandal. What a complete disaster. Who is this guy? Sam Bankman-Fried or fraud or I don't know, but he's caused a lot of problems for people that were investing in crypto. This has really become quite a disaster. And the more that comes out about it, the more we can see how he had contributed to both parties and how that money may have been used in the elections. And let's go back to crypto. This was meant to solve financial corruption, but it's done anything but that. So, this is why I, of course, place my investment in paddles and balls. At least I know I'm getting a good return on my money and also having fun. And personally, I think this guy is going down just like a drop shot in pickleball. Okay, let's jump on to more exciting stories, including what's going on in the pickleball news. So, do you know your rating? I do. It's very important to me because I want to know, who I'm playing against and if I want to compete in a tournament. Ratings are very important. Interestingly enough, there have been several developments in the players' rating landscape over the past 2 weeks, and as the national governing body, USA Pickleball continues to be fully engaged in discussions. As you know, in the pickleball world, your rating can be very important if you want to compete against others in range. Personally, I think they should deduct the ratings of a banger who's continually hitting someone in the eye or the boob or anywhere on the body, but something definitely needs to be done about it. Now for my second serve, since we've already covered bangers, let's move on to spinners and backswingers. Wait, are we still talking about pickleball here? Hey, Tony, you might know something about those spinners and backswingers.
What?
Apparently, being a spinner is applying spin to the ball from low to high, causing the pickleball to spin in the same direction as the flight ball. Well, I'm not a spinner off the court, but I could work on my spins a little more on the court. Speaking of spinners, I had a funny story that I wanted to share with you. I'm with a bunch of the gals, and we're on the court, and one of the ladies keeps going on and on about what a good spinner she is. And then I see the guys in the court next to us, and they start to look over at us. And then another lady says, yeah, I'm a really good spinner too. And at that point, I said, hey, gals, come here. I got to tell you something. Do you know there's another term for spinners, like a sexual term? And they kind of looked at me with their eyes all big and bug-eyed. They're like, what? I said, yeah, it means this, this, and this. And they looked at me, they're like, how do you know? I said, well, I'm a sex therapist. And it was kind of like the first time, maybe we had been playing for a couple of weeks at that point. So they said, really? I said, yeah. And one of them said, okay, let's call over the coach and see what he has to say. I'm like, sure, call over the coach. So the coach comes over and they say, hey, do you know what a spinner is? Like the sexual term? And he's like, yeah, of course. It's a petite woman that, you spin around as you're engaged with, you can say. Anyway, it was hysterical. They just started laughing and they couldn't stop. And literally we had to stop the game because they were laughing for 15 minutes. Other people started looking at us. They thought we were a bit insane. But this is why pickleball is so addicting, because not only do you get that adrenaline rush, the competitiveness, and just that like whack of the ball on the paddle, there's just something to that sound. And of course, the social aspect of it. I mean, in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why I show up. And it's so much fun for everyone. That's why it's one of the fastest growing sports in America. And that is my big pickle of the day. This is your host, Dr. Dawn. We'll be right back with more pickleball antics and my co-host, Tony, right after this.
Hey, and welcome back to Getting Down with the Pickleball. This is Tony. I'm with Dr. Don. And I did want to ask you, and if you listened, and hopefully you did with the monologue intro there, you had a couple good little, I would say, drop shots on this guy, Bakeman Fraud. Clever that you got that in there. I love that. This guy, I mean, doesn't it feel like it was always set up to fail? It was the next pyramid Ponzi Madoff. Something was going to be totally taken advantage of on this, because you can't make that much that fast, that quick.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it seems like there's some dark money involved, I guess you could say, because both parties got kickbacks or donations from this guy. There's some stuff that went on in Ukraine. Who knows? It could even be tied to Hunter Biden's laptop. We don't know. And he ends up in the same prison as Epstein. I don't know. This thing stinks to me. It just seems like there's a lot more involved that people are letting on, and they're hiding it. I think a lot of people are involved in this, and they don't want information to come out.
Sure, but the reality is this affected everyone. It didn't really hit, like, even if he donated more to one side than the other, it didn't matter. It was like, I don't care if you were pink, blue, gray, whatever you are, in any which way.
I think he just donated to the Uniparty. That's my opinion. Both sides.
Okay, right. Well, cover his bases, but
yeah,
this affected everyone. So this just wasn't a select one side or the other thing. This was hit everybody in the world, like you were mentioning.
Well, it did, but I think that there is some other stuff going on that they're not really exposing, and hopefully we'll find out. But you know what? A lot of times it gets buried, especially if it's involving politicians and big name actors. I mean, who knows?
That's funny because to me, this guy was drop shopped. Everyone just went, stay away from this guy. Which brings me to the terms of this thing. Pickleball is a crazy term name game. It's so funny. It's like the guys that must have invented this back in the day, in the 60s when they started this, obviously there was some underlining little fun. let's see if we can get this past people without them thinking that. But really, it does sound as sexual as it can for any sport. And I've played them, and I've played many of them.
Well, there is one more sport. Cornhole.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's
yeah. We won't talk about that. But I was just thinking.
Why? one time in jail doesn't make you gay.
Oh, you're so bad, Tony.
So, kidding, folks. But the terms, like, even when we were just kind of talking about this off mic for a minute, and we were saying the swingers and the bangers and the back spinners or the back swingers, whatever, the terms are so insanely sexual that as a woman, do you ever feel like, okay, so that's what they were trying to do? They were frustration-wise, maybe? I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you really think about it, it is kind of funny, but my mind kind of goes in different places than other women just because I'm a sex therapist and I just think of these terms differently. But I think your average person, maybe they don't really concentrate on it. I think it's kind of funny, though, because I do think that there has to be some double meaning to these because they're just the sexual terms. I don't see how you cannot see.
Right. Well, so here's the actual definition of a banger. It's someone who likes to hit the ball hard on most of their shots and attempts to overpower their opponents in every match, which to me is like, where's the game then? If you're only just getting a point by whacking you in the face, like you said, or the eye or boob shots or on a girl or
chest shots, and all you're doing is trying to hit the ball at a person instead of being engaged in a back and forth. Or that, to me, when I play, if it wasn't tennis or badminton or things, the volley, as long as that went on, that was the fun of the sport. Can you return it and keep it playing instead of just whacking someone? Like when you got whacked, game over, point over, that's it. And then you go back thinking, oh, I'm going to get banged again now. Thank you, folks. I'll be here all week.
Well, yeah. I mean, if someone is just doing that, they might not have the skill to really play the game, and they're just kind of muscling their way through it. And I don't think that's a lot of fun because your opponent just gets injured. And when you listen, everyone says, oh, it's a wiffle ball, right? But it's stronger than a wiffle ball. When that thing is coming at you so fast with so much power behind it, it can do damage and leave bruises. And I mean, someone even got their eye taken out. So seriously, people do have to be careful with this stuff.
It is crazy. I've seen that ball. It hurts. You get hit by it. It's not a little, plastic thing. Okay. No, there's a bruise or a couple. Yeah. I've seen them.
Yeah, and then, if they're trying to have a game where you're up in the kitchen and you're playing a fun game that way, a banger doesn't usually come up in the kitchen and use, like, their soft hits. If they just come up in the kitchen and they're still banging away at you.
And that's funny because people don't even know, unless you know the game, and hopefully most of you people listening in today do play the game, and you know where the kitchen is located, which is right between the two opponents, at the net, but you can't ever seem to go in the kitchen, so you don't cook in there, you don't do nothing, right? You can't even like throw anything away. You can't.
If you got to get in the kitchen, you got to get out right away.
Right. And you know what? I know this. You can't score in there. You cannot hit it back. You have to wait to get out of the kitchen before you're in.
No, if it bounces in the kitchen, you can jump in the kitchen and you can hit it back, but you got to get out of the kitchen because that next ball coming at you.
Yeah, you can't be in the kitchen and return. Meaning, if you hit it to me and I was in the kitchen, that's
unless it bounced.
It has to hit it first, right? And then I can respond. So if it was like a little drop shot, and then I could get in the kitchen and hit it back.
Yes.
And then I have to get back over the line and out of the kitchen. Mm-hmm. Just like a guy. I don't know. Maybe a woman. More women-y are not in the kitchen as much as they used to be. But I heard you're a great cook. I'm not saying much.
Are we being a little bit sexist here?
No.
Oh, no.
I'm being sexy.
Oh, sexy. I
see.
Sexy. As you're dealing with your bangers and your swingers.
No, I want to talk about spinners since, and if you guys don't know what spinning means, it's on your serve. There's a technique you can use to spin the ball on the serve, just like if you're playing ping pong. There's a way to use that paddle. Wow, these things. Anyways, a way to use the instrument you have to spin it on the other person. I'm getting lost in this thing. It's kind of what I want to be doing. It's easier and more fun to talk about and to play it sometimes, I guess. But spinners. And then, of course, your story about the women, and they were totally oblivious to what that meant in, I guess, regular terms, because a lot of people don't talk pickleball at a bar or at a restaurant or out, at the park, and they're walking their dog.
Well, that's one thing that's not true. I've noticed at a bar now, if you start talking about pickleball, chances are there's going to be a few people at the bar that come over and like, I played pickleball too. So it's just one of those sports where the people really want to let you know that they're pickleballers.
No, that's cool. But I was just mentioning that if you say spinner at a bar, chances are they don't think you're talking about pickleball.
No, probably not. But you would know that better than me, Tony.
Well, you're 5'1". This, ladies and gentlemen, this is a grandma-sized, perfect little spinner woman. I know she said she wasn't, spinning on the court, but...
Oh, wow.
But
tell us
if
how
you look
really
her
feel.
Don't sugarcoat it, is what you're saying. Oh, well. Okay, well, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll have a couple more questions and discussions with Dr. Dawn and her not being spinny things. So stay tuned to Getting Down with the Pickle, or the Pickleball. We'll be right back. And welcome back once again to Getting Down with the Pickleball and Dr. Dawn. I'm Tony. I've been sitting here with her trying to get some funny things put together, but something that ends up being funny, but for seriousness, and what you brought up when you first opened the show was ratings. First of all, how do you get a rating?
Well, here's how you can get your rating, and there's actually 3 types of pickleball ratings. There's the self-rating, there's the USA Pickleball Tournament Player rating, and there's the Dreamland Universal Pickleball rating. So for me, if I want to do self-rating, you just kind of go through a chart and it'll tell you like starting from 1 to 5, and you just look at what they have to say. So let's say I'm a 4, my rating is a 4. I would basically have to know how to generally hit the ball both way, forehand, backhand, drives, serves, returns, dinks, drop shots, volleys at different speeds. So that would be probably like a 3.5, 4 where I'm at about right now, I think. Or if you happen to have a coach and they're there, they can set you through some drills and skills, and they can tell you what your rating is.
Okay, so what are the numbers between? So if you're at 3.5, 4, is it at 1 through 5? Is it up to 10?
No, it's the rating goes from 1 to 6, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and listeners, believe you me, this I know you just started 6 months ago, maybe?
August.
Yeah. Less than 6 months ago, and you're playing pretty well. Or I know the people that play with you, they say, yeah, she can hold her own. She's doing well in less than 6 months. Usually when people start a sport, any sport, it takes a minute or two. Maybe, even if you've played other sports before, even tennis guys that come out there, it's an adjustment. It might be a lot of different, or badminton players.
Well, this is the thing with me. I mean, I could be a 3.5. One day I could be maybe a 4. It just depends. I mean, you're supposed to have consistency. So I play every day, which you're not supposed to do. So that's probably why.
Well, that's a good thing then. If you're not supposed to do it, why don't you do it? Oh, you mean like a woman? Okay, there you go.
Oh, what does that mean?
Exactly what that means.
No, it just means that I'm addicted to the sport, and
hence the pickler term.
Yeah,
That was my last term to get to, but thank you for bringing that up. I believe you are a pickler. Yeah. And a pickler is someone that is totally addicted to pickleball, to the sport of pickleball, and every facet of it. It's not just playing it so much. It's also knowing the history, the origin, the players, the tournaments, the scene, where me, on my side, I'm a total enjoyment guy of it. It's cool to watch. It's fast paced. I know it's fun to play, but for me, would I be a pickler? Nah, I'm not a pickler.
Oh, you don't know unless you've really played. Because you've played tennis and what you said, badminton before? Or,
yeah. I was a little ping pong champ, bro. I was a good.
You were?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Oh, you probably would do really well with pickleball. Yeah, we got to get you out in the courts and see what your skill is.
Okay.
Yeah. You might get addicted.
Because I'm a dick. I'm a dick.
Oh, well, that's for sure.
I'm addicted to love or pickleball. Anyway, the terms are insane. So I love pickler, but the ratings to me was very important because you don't get on a court where everyone's like a 7 or an 8 or something. The highest guys, you're just going to get trampled, and there won't be any fun.
Well, I think it just goes to 6.
Oh, well, I don't care. There's guys that play over 6. Just let them be good over 6. Even the guys that are just the top level players, if you're playing with them and they're just wiping you with the court, where's the fun in that?
No.
Seems like you're having a lot more fun getting better each time you go. It is kind of obsessive that you go every morning. And ladies and gentlemen, I do know this, and it's kind of funny. It doesn't matter. You basically don't even care about the weather. And this is the end of December. Yes, okay, we're in LA, and the weather's a whole different ball game out here. And you get nice days, or even today she was out playing because it's raining now.
I had to get in there.
Right, you had to get your fix in.
Yeah.
As a pickler, you must, right.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
It's my drug of choice. Yeah.
If I could only say that. And I'm a pickle fanatic, like the real thing of pickles, but and how they're made and the whole thing. That's a whole nother show and segment, Tony and the Pickles. But getting down with the pickleball right now with Dr. Don, we're going to take a quick break. I want to come back. I want to ask one more question in regards to these fun terms, and we'll be pickling along. Stay tuned. And welcome back to Getting Down with the Pickleball with your host, Dr. Don. Again, I'm Tony. I've been throwing some drop shots at you. You've been kind of following back with a couple of answers or views on this pickleball, but very informative for people that are just tuning in for the first time and are trying to get a handle on these things. And we've been mainly talking about the terms of what is used in pickleball, which obviously we're finding has a lot of sexual innuendos, but also is a true meaning if you're playing the sport, because you got to follow that. For example, bounce it. When the player is yelling bounce it, which I thought was kind of weird, but in my world, if I was playing with it, we just say let it go. But when they don't want you to hit a ball, and they would think that it's going out of bounds or hitting the line and it'll be out, they use the term bounce it. Now, again, with spinners, you got to bounce that first before you can. But in the pickleball world, that means let it go. And I don't know if you want to let a spinner go. Maybe you do. Like, sometimes that serve, oh, you guys thinking something else? I'm sorry. On the serve, when you have a backswing, backswingers. When you have that backswing and you're coming to hit the ball and you spin, sometimes the serve just doesn't go in. And you yell, bounce it. Where in the other worlds, you just say, let it go. You ever come across this anytime? You ever heard that term?
Yeah, sure. I mean, people use the terms on the court. I mean, you're getting a little more technical. Maybe in a tournament or something, they would use that. But it's fun to throw it out once in a while if you do know the terms and you can kind of have a laugh at it.
Right. I was going to ask.
Just like with spinner. I mean, that was hilarious, obviously.
Yeah, so then that becomes... That's that social part and it lightens up the game a little bit too, obviously.
Well, not only that, is sometimes when we see each other on the court and one of us says it, we just start busting up right then and there because it just goes back to, oh yeah, we're talking about spinners again.
Right.
So, I know that's something that you hang out with a lot of the spinners and the
Right, they're a great band.
Swingers.
I love that band. I've been a big fan of the Spinners since the 70s.
Oh yes, you're a musician, I forgot.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
Could it be I'm falling in love? It's just one of those.
I thought you were just the ping pong guy that, won
I
all
did
the
that for a long time.
The champion.
And pool for some reason.
Oh, and pool.
Yeah.
Wow. And baseball?
I had done some time in baseball as well.
Oh, my goodness. Look at you.
I know. One of those all around dudes. Not on the pickle court world. But you remember you talking about ratings and how you come about that. But being a sex therapist, didn't you have that kind of those talks with your clients, patients, couples? So if you think you're a 3.5, 4, your bedroom side, that's a see you later person, right?
Wow, that could be really interesting if we had a rating for our partner.
Right?
Yeah, okay.
Everyone has a rating. Or do you just accept your partner as is?
Well, you obviously accept each other when you meet and you hopefully don't try to change the other person. But certainly if things get boring in the bedroom, you're going to want to spice it up.
Well, I was talking about the court, but all right. Yeah, because if they're boring on the court, they're dead.
Oh,
they're dead everywhere else.
You kind of wonder, like when you watch people playing sometimes, it's like those who grunt when they hit the ball.
Okay.
Yeah, you kind of wonder if that's what they sound like when they're...
There's a couple tennis players that do that. Every time they hit the ball, it's, oh. Every time that we're watching it at home, someone smarts off.
Oh, yeah,
and starts going, whoa, yeah, where? Oh, don't stop, or what? Those things. So
I know, but listen, it may be a woman and a man, or who does that grunting or groaning. But if you hear a guy and he's constantly going when he's doing the ball, it would be equivalent to a woman who's like, oh, each time she hits the ball. I mean, what is that all about?
Okay, yeah, well, why can't that be? Well,
I don't know. You just don't hear that. I don't hear the women going,
no.
Oh, every time they're hitting the ball.
No, we should start. Let's get a term for that and make that part of the rules. Okay, but ratings.
Okay, ratings. Yes. Mm-hmm.
My point that I was trying to make last time is, if you're playing someone higher in a world of skill in pickleball versus where maybe you're at or beginners, then I don't see the fun in that at all, because it'd be like a little leaguer trying to hit, high school pitching. You can't do it.
Well, that's when you're supposed to be just working on your game, because if you're doing like open play, and let's say there's like 40 people who show up, you're obviously going to cycle through having people that are better than you, that are the same, who maybe are more beginners. And so if you really can think of, I need to continue to work on my game, even if I'm playing with someone who doesn't know the game that well, it'll make you a little less frustrated. I don't know. I mean...
Okay, so you play with women.
No,
and I'm not saying
men and women.
I know, but you play with women like if it's 2-on-2, right? And basically you play doubles mainly.
Yes.
I know you play singles, but you have more fun with.
No, I play mostly doubles.
When you're playing doubles and let's say it's 4 women, obviously you would find the competition within range of each other, right? It wouldn't be like 2 guys against 2 girls and all they do is slam the ball at you the whole time because they have more strength and you guys are worried about getting hit versus returning the thing.
Well, no, there's some women out there who...
Right, so does that apply? Can it...
there are some...
The gender weird thing, can that apply there? Like, are you seeing any dudes dressing up as women and playing like only against women and slamming the crap out of it?
Well, they do have at one of our nights, they do have something called Tutu Tuesday, so...
All right on.
And okay. I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to see a bunch of men out there in tutus playing. Maybe if they wore cowboy hats, I'd like that. But I don't know. I don't see the turn on.
Okay, but all I'm saying is, like the NCAA allow that girl, guy, whatever, a swim against the women and totally beat the records of women.
I totally No, you know what? I'm not cool with that because when you're born a man and you develop muscles and you have testosterone, your body is different. You develop differently. Your brain is different. And when you try to put men into female sports, the men end up winning. So we just set women back 100 years.
That's what I'm trying to bring up.
Yeah.
When you're if you're playing that doubles thing and it's 2 guys against 2 girls, I would think that that's not as fun as if you were playing within your... Okay, so let's say the guys suck. They are 4, 3.5, 4.
It doesn't work that way in pickleball because I have played with women that are superior. Their skill, their strength, they know the game, and then you have a guy that maybe can, bang the ball out, but he has limited skill. So, no, I haven't seen too much of that. It's pretty even.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm just curious if it even reaches out to... Because I know pickleball's catching on. It's becoming super well-known across the country, right?
Yeah.
That things like this, and it's the current stuff that's happening in the world, is not... And it's probably nothing new, We've seen it over the years. I've seen it in tennis where the guy had a sex change and ended up playing 20 more years in tennis as a woman and played against women and was probably stronger than stuff. But when they met like a Martina or a Billie Jean King or someone high up, they had tough time beating him and or keeping up with him.
But this is the thing about pickleball, which I love so much, is you could have a bunch of people who are whatever gender they want to be. And I don't believe that. I believe in, 2 sexes. That's just my opinion. But it doesn't really matter in pickleball because pickleball, there's a lot of skill. It's not just strength. There's skill. It's like chess. When you learn the game, because when you dink very lightly and you have to be very patient and you have to be very intentional. So it really doesn't have to do with a gender or a sex. I keep saying that.
When you get someone that's equal, that you guys are pretty close in range and skill?
Well, that's when you're not being real competitive and you're more... I always like to be a little bit competitive, but I can see what you're saying because I enjoy getting better along with them or improving our shots or just, having a really close game where you don't stop at 10 or 11 or 12. I mean, you're really neck and neck with these people and it's fun. That's really fun.
That's always a good... All right, ladies and gentlemen, we need to take one more break. We'll be right back with Dr. Don and getting down with the pickleball. But first, this message. And we're back here with Getting Down with the Pickle, our last segment with Dr. Don. And we've been going through a few fun little items and things, but a lot of terms. One term I want to throw at you is, you ever heard pickle? Do you even know what that means? Now she's looking at me like, what? This is
no, I do know what that means.
Okay, what?
Okay, it means that you got pickled, like you didn't score.
Wow, are you 100% wrong?
Oh,
Pickle means warning shouted out by the server to alert all players on the pickleball court they're about to serve.
That's lame.
It is lame. You know
what?
Well, when you play
no,
volleyball,
seriously, I've never heard anyone say that.
I'm telling you, it's right
oh
here
my
in
God,
writing.
That's so lame.
That's why I wanted to bring it up
Okay.
because it sounds so stupid. You're like when you're playing volleyball, you say serving 7 to 12, meaning I'm 7, you're 12. I couldn't see someone like if you brought me on the court and everywhere around the court, all I'm hearing is pickle, 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 hey, pickle, 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 pickle. That's insane. So have you ever heard anyone before they serve? Okay.
No, I haven't.
You know what? I don't make this up.
Oh my God,
this
that's
stuff
so
exists. But I did want to talk about one thing in our last segment here, and I kind of agree with you. When that's all they do is bang you, and that's all their game plan is or their play is. Why wouldn't their rating go down? Why wouldn't they get deducted points like you suggested? Like in football, if you hit a guy in the head, you know you're going to be ejected. You know you're getting fined. Or you're known to be a player that likes to be aggressive and hit hard, and you make one more slight mistake than you should have.
Well, there should be something built into the game. So it would be like maybe you lose a point. If it becomes that you just see that this person, I don't know how they would do it, but I think it would have to be built into the game itself.
Okay, so how about this? Mm-hmm. You get slammed and you get hit in a spot you don't like, whatever that spot is for you, and there's a lot of pain and it stings. At that one moment that happens, you in your head are thinking, losing a point right now is not enough damage or enough penalty to warrant what I am going through. So think of it in that term, because I've seen guys get hit in football like that, and in the Darryl Stingley case, never walked again.
Well, you would have to be playing in a tournament. I mean, because this is not just like you go on the court, you have fun. Because obviously, I would avoid that person. I would not play with that person because I have a choice.
Would you walk off the court?
I would walk off the court.
You just say, game, over.
No, I'd be like, I'm not playing with you.
Right.
Listen, if you're playing and a person hits you, they're apologetic. I'd say 99% of the people are apologetic. Then there's that 1% that are just complete assholes. And they're out there because that's what they want to do. They want to get their aggression out on you, out on someone. And that's just their personality. So once you find out that person, you don't play with them again. Now, if you're in a tournament and you're up against them, they're your opponent, I don't know if there's something that they can deduct.
Okay. I'm not familiar with it either.
Yeah.
But then again, you didn't know what pickle meant. So.
Well, I didn't say I'm the expert. No. I just said I'm addicted.
And with that, a shot, that would be the show for today. Dr. Don, as usual, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tony. That was fun balling in your court.
Ooh. Little backswing, maybe?
I don't know about that.
Anyway, please join us next time. A lot more insight from Dr. Don, not just only about the pickleball, as the pickler she is, but also topics of the day, her own little antics at the court and experiences, and me making fun of them. Anyway, we'll catch you next time when we're getting down with the pickleball.